So it's common knowledge that flirting is dead and Gen Z killed it, unfortunately. And we already know that Gen Z is stunted in a variety of ways. They're not reaching the milestones that we expect young adults to reach. And in dating, it's even more pronounced. Essentially, flirting is dying, according to one of their interviewees here. If someone thinks you're cute, they just ask for your Instagram these days and then DM you or swipe up on your story to show that they're interested. And before that, now that Snapchat is outdated, that's not a thing anymore, but people would ask for your Snapchat instead of your phone number, which I've always maintained is a red flag.
My favorite is when it's like the memes that say like what girls expect when I respond with the fire emoji on her stories.
Like it's so beta. Like I know that women don't reject men graciously these days, but I think that
ever really.
I mean, I don't have personal experience being the guy in that situation, so I don't know. But I know that women can be nasty about rejecting advances these days, but it's so much worse to surrender yourself to swiping up on someone's story and sending a fire emoji than just going up and talking to someone. I know it's a meme at this point, but it would be worth the payoff.
One of my favorite Instagram videos of all time. You know who Jordan the Stallion is, the guy who makes the videos? He has this one where he reacts to this video where somebody says like, the worst that she can say is no. And he goes, oh, no. Oh, yeah. Hell no. He goes, I once went up to a girl and asked her to junior prom, and she just looked at me and said, that must have been very difficult for you.
I think that women need a master class in rejecting graciously.
Yeah. Honestly, like jokes aside, I think the worst that I've ever been rejected was like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
Okay,
in fairness,
this is really not that bad.
Yeah, I know.
It depends on the situation.
Perfectly.
Maybe
reasonable.
Gen Z women are worse about it than millennial women. I have no idea.
Lack of social skills in general.
They also complain that men are bad texters and have abysmal pickup lines, and there is an entire Instagram account dedicated to awful DMs.
Listen,
through these. It might not let us because I'm not logged into Instagram here.
Okay.
Everyone is a bad texter because back in the Bachelor days, I remember when I tried Bumble, and chicks would reach out first, and it would be like, "Do you like sandwiches?" I'm like, "I hate you."
That sucks.
Do I like sandwiches?
Well, here are some. Please enjoy the most baffling excuse ever for why a guy wants to send dick pics. He said, I have body dysmorphia, so for me to be proud of any part of my body is a miracle. Ha ha.
The ha ha is the best part of that.
Ha ha.
The ha ha at the end. I was a person who used to ha ha a lot on the internet, and I've transitioned over to LOL.
To hee hee.
To LOL.
There's another one.
I'm a sucker for a successful woman. You go, girl. I like my women seasoned. If you understand the term as in mentally.
What?
Yeah. There was another one that was like, self-love is like, everyone deserves to love themselves. Can you send me a picture of your arse? Like,
but okay, the other point of this was they're saying like women they don't want men to try to pick them up in public, but they also yearn for the days pre-social media. Those can't exist at the same time.
Gen Z yearns for pre-digital dating, but don't ask them out in person.
So what the hell does that mean?
In this very article, they interview a 23-year-old girl, and she says that she watched this scene in Sex and the City where a character gets asked out in an elevator. And she said, I wish I lived during that time. I guess people just didn't have social media. So if you saw someone you thought was attractive, you just had to say something. But it says, even her, who yearns for the more direct approach, says she would be weirded out if someone asked her out in person. Quote, I would probably say no because it's so uncommon.
Listen, here's my piece of advice for the men and the ladies that like the ladies. When it's something about boundaries, always respect that, but beyond that, completely disregard a woman when she tells you she likes something. Completely disregard. If it's like, don't do this, don't do it. But if it's something like,
I don't like this,
I don't like this. It's like, you don't know that.
Reward the behavior that you want to see, though. From the woman's perspective, if you are bemoaning the fact that men don't ask women out in person anymore, first of all, don't be a bitch when it happens to you. And second of all, she's just concluding before it even happens that she's going to reject it.
That's true, but I also understand the like the feeling of the audacity of you just speaking to me.
I don't understand that
maybe
at all.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a
Especially
piece
because
of shit.
Like, guys talk about how it's so hard to work up the courage to do so. Like, why would I shoot someone down in an unnecessarily cruel way for doing that? Even if I'm not interested, it's not like they could have known that beforehand.
This is definitely like a cultural difference because I am Hispanic and.
Well, I mean, from a guy's perspective, if a woman made the first move, is that kind of
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like.
You'd say yes?
No.
I mean,
No?
if it were.
I would wonder why they were
when I was unmarried.
the one asking.
But,
Right, it's puzzling.
It is puzzling. I think that's the key word. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
You know?
and I think that's also why women don't want to make the first move and never have. It's just not in our nature. But it's also, we're in a dire situation right now. We're in a dating recession, the experts say.
What was it?
And sometimes
60
desperate
million?
times call for desperate measures.
60 million single people here in the U.S. That's a gold rush, isn't
60
it?
million single adults currently in the U.S., whereas we only had 47 million in
Look
2017.
Left, look left, look right. You'll find somebody that's single. Go ask.
I think the first time it happened to me where a chick was very forward with me, she was very weird. That she basically said, like, the human imperative is to reproduce. And I was like, we're 16.
Oh, she
dude.
was definitely autistic.
Yeah. But like,
She was like, her eyes were super
poor
wide.
girl.
You could see the whites on either
poor
side of
girl.
She
her
was
eyes.
like, I'm not weird. It's
So-
the human imperative to desire to reproduce. I'm like, I'm not mature enough to engage with this conversation even remotely.
Here is the worst part about dating apps being the mainstream way to meet people is nobody has, it's essentially anti-vulnerability.
Yes.
So here's what they say. Receiving a like or matching with another person on a dating app shows that the person is undoubtedly interested in you. But when flirting with someone in real life, there's no giveaway for guaranteed interest. Recalling a time she didn't realize her interest was reciprocated until the guy she was attempting to flirt with asked for her Instagram handle. Our generation has been so online that when it comes to talking to people, it's a bit scary, says the founder of a singles event company, We Met IRL. Now, I have never seen or been to a speed dating event, but it sounds like another circle of hell that we haven't uncovered yet. And I went to the We Met IRL page. This says, our mission is a relationship building organization that hosts speed dating events, mixers, and social gatherings with diversity in mind. Our mission is to create environments that encourage romantic or platonic connections offline, and we do this by facilitating safe spaces for meaningful conversations. We've already heard diversity and safe spaces, social interactions, and good times. Because of the isolation imposed by the pandemic, more and more people expressed their wish to meet people in real life. We Met IRL is a response to this.
There you go. Here, now somebody can reset the clock on the House reference book. There is an episode
Where Chase is just like crushing.
where House, Wilson, and Chase go to a speed dating thing, and House bets Chase $100 that if he acts like a complete idiot, he'll still get cards from like everyone. And he's like, you can't be a doctor. You're kind of slow and dumb. And he still gets names from all the people, because House goes to Wilson. He goes, why did you bring Chase here? He goes, when you go to a speed dating event, you bring your ugly friends. And Chase goes, I'm not that good looking. He goes, yeah, you are.
You know, another thing that's stunting dating right now is people don't walk around with business cards.
Yes.
These days.
Yep.
Dude, a business card? You think that would work? Like,
People
hey,
used to carry business cards.
Yep.
It's so much better than handing
Wow.
someone your phone.
this is a look into the psychology of Mary Morgan. Really? Do you think that would have raised you up?
I mean, I'm just saying it's way less socially awkward than
Than what's your
asking
Insta?
someone for their Instagram or
You know,
Snapchat. Ugh.
I'm not insulting you. I just find it very interesting that
Well,
would
it's-
have.
I mean, is that not true? Like,
Pull out like
Maybe, dude,
you pull out a QR code for them to scan.
it's like
It makes
writing your
sense.
phone number on a cocktail napkin.
Yeah.
You know, like something that's a little more tangible.
Did you ever
than,
see that,
Here's my Snapchat.
I don't know,
handle."
dude.
that thing that used to go, it went viral on Twitter a few times, where like a woman is getting talked to by a guy at a coffee shop, and the coffee shop workers bring her a second
yeah.
coffee, and they like, if you need help, go to the bathroom or something.
No,
like
the barista. It was a male barista.
Yeah.
He was probably a male feminist. He wrote on a napkin like, "If you feel unsafe, move your ponytail to the other side, and I'll ask him to leave. He's even creeping me out."
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. The language of calling men creeps has done irreparable damage to the male psyche, especially in Gen Z, to the point where they have just sworn off approaching.
Yeah.
I mean, even calling it approaching makes it sound predatory. Why do we call it that? It's just talking to another person. We don't need to overcomplicate it that much.
There's 30 to 40 years of television of portraying men this way that has done unbelievable damage.
But every woman knows the difference between a creep and a non-creep.
Yep.
Because of our
Being
intuition.
attractive.
Here's the thing is though, like it's all about perspective, right? So when you watch this on TV, it's all about how the woman perceives it. Now, no guy is going to be able to bet 100% that when he goes up and tries to talk to a woman without being prompted, that she's not going to see it that way. He doesn't know, and he's not going to take the risk.
I mean, this is gonna sound really cold-hearted to a lot of guys, but like you really have to make the calculation of your looks, wealth, general demeanor, hygiene, charisma. You gotta be realistic and run a number, and then run a number on the lady that you're trying to court, with the understanding that chicks don't necessarily always go for the guy that's equal in looks, but you gotta have some risk to back it up, and make your assessments with the best of your ability.
We're in a recession.
A recession.
A recession.
A recession.
Yeah.
There is a Riz shortage. And it, again, I want to harp on this. The lack of vulnerability is a huge problem in modern dating. The fact that you need to use an app to confirm that someone is interested in you before you make any moves or try to speak to them or meet with them in real life, it says everything about the problem here.
Yep.
Because it would be not easier, but more effective to feel a vibe.
But the thing is, people can't read body language anymore. And
What,
people
everyone
can't-
just suddenly woke up and had autism all of a sudden? Like,
It's got nothing to do with that. It's been a struggle for a long time, and it goes into millennials. It's worse with Gen Z, but it goes into millennials. I used to make the joke. I said I think the CIA invented emojis because people can't read facial expressions anymore, so they need like drastic examples of what someone's face looks like when they're feeling something. I'm half kidding about that, but what I'm saying is that, like, look, it's very easy to have a discussion with someone and then not be able to pick up on necessarily what they're feeling about it, especially if you're not having regular real world conversations outside of maybe the benign, inane conversations you have at work. Right? If you're not actually experiencing the real world where you're interacting with people that you don't normally talk to and have a rapport with, you're not necessarily going to be able to pick up on those types of coded, aspects of our culture.
if people are single and if someone is unhappy with the fact that they're single, they like to tell themselves a flattering story about why that is.
Like what?
So for women, they're going to tell themselves a more flattering story, which is that, oh, men these days are trash.
They're intimidated by me.
They're intimidated by my power as a woman and blah, blah, blah. They're intimidated by me because I'm so hot, etc. The list goes on. And then, the flattering story that a lot of single men are telling themselves these days, and I've gotten a lot of pushback for saying this, is that they don't go up to women because they're afraid of getting Me Too'd. That is not the case. If you think that, you're telling yourself a flattering story. You are just timid and afraid of rejection, which is an understandable worry, but you got to overcome. No one that you walk up to at a bar is going to launch a lawsuit against you for sexual assault. If you're worried about that, it's probably because you're trying to hop into bed with someone that you just met.
Yeah, which you shouldn't do.
Which you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It might be... I agree with what you're saying, but I also see the circumstances where, like, this is... it's getting pretty dicey. Like, for example, if you like someone and you work with them and there's a vibe, it's like... things can go like so terribly.
Oh, yeah.
Like the risk assessments.
HR harpies have ruined meeting spouses through work.
HR, other coworkers, then losing your livelihood. Like,
things get complicated. I won't deny that.
Right. So there's I agree that you're mostly right, but there's definitely like.
But to act like, if I go up to this random chick in a bar, I'm going to get Me Too. It's like, come on. Like, let's just be real.
But don't meet chicks at bars.
Whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's worked for some people. I mean, think about life before social media. Where did you go? You probably went to a bar, or you met someone that you work with. That's how it usually happens.
I'm a child.
Or you met someone that your friends recommended to you.
I'm a child of the internet, so like I met my wife online. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to say on that regard, but like we began analog is the word, and we began turning our relationship analog as quick as possible, and that usually was how it worked with people that I ended up in relationships. Like, you seem interesting, and after like an hour chit chat, I was like, hey, let's meet in person or on a call or whatever. Like progressively more analog quickly. Whereas what I feel that's the issue with like younger generations is they just keep it there for so long, and when people are exclusively digital, a lot of people, they have their digital facade versus their real life persona, and when the two meet, it's like, I was being rejected because girls have this high standards. Like, no, because you're a disingenuous asshole in person. So,
or your online Riz doesn't match your real world Riz.
Yeah.
Which is a thing. Like, some people don't have, the immediate charismatic recollection of humor.
Situationships
I'm
are a
6
whole
feet
other.
tall online.
Is that correct?
You mentioned like people keeping it, at a certain stage that's indefinitely stretched out for a period of time that it doesn't make any sense and it's not going to progress anywhere. And like, that's a situationship. And situationships are an entirely other can of worms.
Yep.
But again, if someone is in a situationship and they're not happy with that, they're going to tell themselves a story as to why that is. And usually it's because the woman wants commitment and the guy doesn't. And she's going to tell herself, oh no, like I'm just playing the field. Like I'm just casual. I'm not looking for a relationship right now. But the truth is, if that guy wanted to commit to you in a second, you would be jumping at the opportunity. But they're prioritizing the wrong things.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.